while we like your many votes against bad stuff and your good votes for the good stuff, please justify your initial vote for the Bay Road bond that includes 60% port, and then, in the fall, a 10% salary increase when the rest of the county was getting 3%. And when you're already the highest paid commissioners in the state, and there are layoffs occurring in the oil and gas industry, would you advise that your salaries go before the voter?
Thank you.
Mr. Novak, you get to begin this one.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I think it's imperative that any group that wants to tout endorsements or to put forth claims of voter guide give the opportunity to all candidates to vet. We know that not all groups do, and I applaud you for extending that offer to all individual candidates. I'll start with the 10% raise first. You know, I strongly believe that the commissioners in Montgomery County, especially me, we work hard every single day, not necessarily harder than our employees. And I think that what you saw with that 10% pay raise and then retraction was an example of how good government works. It's one of the, probably I think the only time that I've seen this court reverse themselves on any course of action, and it was because you, the people, spoke up. And that's what I want to hear. I want your voice. I want you to be part of the decision-making process. And I did put forward that any time going forward, we need to have some sort of a citizen review panel where those raises can be addressed, and it can be a more public, more transparent process. Because right now, the only way a commissioner can get a raise is by the Commissioners Court voting that in. And so I think we could do a better job, and I welcome the opportunity. And Mr. Works, I'd love to have your input on how you think we can do that better and more transparently. Oh, and you asked about the raise and, oh, the May road bond. You know, with the road bond, it's a difficult decision for me, but I wanted the voters to have the opportunity to decide what was in their best interest. And again, while we had the court trying to cram Woodlands Parkway down your throat, the voters overwhelmingly rejected that. And I think it'll be remembered in 2016. Thank you.
And whether you would have the salaries go before a vote instead of yourself.
Absolutely. If we can do a better job of that, absolutely. And I'd love to work with you on how we can make that happen.
J-Mac?
Thank you, Paul. To answer your question, I think it's very important to answer questionnaires. I think it's very important to be vetted. I think a better term might be to interview people, but I understand the vetting process. I do believe the reason that I did not answer your questionnaire, and it's a fair question, but I reviewed your questionnaire. I thought there were some pretty good questions, but I had a big concern about a question that was on there. It's question number 10. It says, do you think the county needs to zone areas to control population densities and development patterns? I have a big problem with that premise of that question. Any group, doesn't matter what group they are, that wants to ask a question to a potential county commissioner, do you think the county needs to zone areas to control population densities and development patterns? That's not necessarily an organization I want to make sure that I'm in front of answering questions to. There could be a gotcha question. Who knows what's going to happen next? But that's a serious question. That's a big concern with that question. Controlling population densities. That's not what county commissioners do. Nobody gets to tell somebody how many kids they can have and where they can have them, where they can move. Private property rights exist for a reason. If a developer wants to develop land or somebody has a farm and they want to sell it and put 15,000 houses on it, if it all fits and it fits for drainage and easements and so forth, then go for it. You shouldn't be asking questions about controlling population densities and development patterns. It's not a good question. It's not right. That's why I didn't answer the questionnaire.
Thank you, gentlemen. That'll end the questions. We have 4 minutes each for your closing statements, and we'll start with Mr. Novak.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this race, you have two distinctly different candidates to choose from. You have the chance to go backwards to the good old boy, get along, go along court, And I know that's what some members of the court want. I know that's what some members of the old guard want. And I know that's what some politicians want. My question is to you, what do you want? To win this seat in 2012, we went up against the most powerful elite in this county, and we took the seat out of the hands of the few and placed it in the hands of the many. We won this seat and we fought for it convincingly, and we won it overwhelmingly. We rejected the notion that Precinct 3 was controlled by the good old boys. We have now proven that this is a people's seat. During one of my first commissioner's court, a current commissioner told me, you need to learn to count to 3. Another told me that government is like making sausage. It should be done in the back room where no one knows how it's done, and we deliver the final product to the people. I believe you expect more from your government and their leaders. I believe that people still cling to the words spoken by President Lincoln in 1863, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from this earth. These words ring as true today as when they were first penned and spoken. Your local government is ground zero in the battle to protect our liberties and values that this country was founded on. It is apparent that it is here and now that your voice be heard and that the government represent the will of the people. You only have to look back a few months to see how this local governing body tried to force the Woodlands Parkway extension down the throats of the voter, and then so arrogantly tried to hold hostage any future mobility opportunities. This choice in the election is clear. You have a chance to go backwards, or we can continue forward together, forming a new era in Montgomery County politics, where you, the people, are in control of the government. Thank you, God bless you, and vote no act.
Thank you very much. Closing statement time, 4 minutes. Accountability. Accountability means you got to be present. We've had 3 forums before this one. Montgomery County Law Enforcement Association Forum. He was not present. They asked him if he was there. He wasn't there. He had somebody from his office that was there, and they didn't get up and speak either.
But I still got the endorsement.
In conversation. Protocol. Nevertheless, got to get a jab in while you can. Accountability, 3 forums. We had another forum in Conroe at the Crichton Theater. There were 400 people in the auditorium. There was no James Nowak there. There was a forum that was put on yesterday by the Community Impact newspaper held at the Chamber of Commerce. They repeatedly asked him if he would show up. He never said he would show up, and ultimately they said, okay, he's out. He's not going to show up. You got to show up, being present, being accountable. He talks about accountability. Accountability is being there to answer tough questions and starting way back when the process begins, not coming to the first forum midway to the end when there's only 3 or 4 weeks before early voting starts. Very important for accountability. Great quote from President Lincoln. MLK Day was this week, very important. He had a great speech, and something he brought up that I think is very important to address is, you got to judge a man by the content of his character, not by the color of his skin. Character matters. Integrity matters. Do I make mistakes? Of course I do. Do I ask for forgiveness? Yes, absolutely. Do I seek counsel when mistakes are made? Of course. Am I going to have all the answers? Absolutely not. Thank goodness I don't. We have very, very smart and capable people that will answer questions that I have no concept for. That's why we have a county engineer's office to review studies for $1.9 million. There might have been some savings in there for taxpayer dollars. These things are all very important. I'm not a get along to go along. If you know me, I'm not a get along to go along. You stand on principle and conviction. My guiding principles are Judeo-based. The Bible is my guiding factor. It's right. Right is right and wrong is wrong. It's not that complicated. Sometimes there are nuances to difficult decisions with both of them being good. But it's really not that complicated when you boil it down to it. I appreciate the opportunity to speak here tonight. Eagle Forums have been a great community outreach for residents in Montgomery County and having forums in multiple locations to allow people to get around and to be able to see the people that are running for office. So thank you very much. Vote for J. Max Sanders, early voting, and on election day, if you haven't voted already, early voting. Thank you very much.
Gentlemen, thank you.